Hi, my name is Michael Woolcock. I work in the research department of the World Bank and for many years have taught here part-time at the Kennedy School. I began my career doing a PhD in sociology with a particular focus on financial systems that were working for poor people and really trying to figure out over time how we could get these systems to work not just for poor people but for everyone. And that was a very difficult task, trying to figure out how you design institutions that could actually perform that kind of task. Once I joined the bank, I found myself engaging in questions of political change in countries like Indonesia. And then steadily on the basis of that work, finding that the legal system in particular was the system that was simultaneously charged with doing a lot of the important work and development about property rights, about helping people exchange resources and being able to engage in forms of trade. And yet so often it was easy to implement and introduce, I should say, legal systems, but these systems so often not only failed poor people, sometimes they were overtly used against poor people. And so I set up with many other colleagues at the World Bank a multi-country study based initially in Indonesia, then into Cambodia and into Sierra Leone and Kenya and now into a dozen other countries around the world, where we're looking at these very difficult processes of change at the local level, and in particular focus on these governance and legal questions, which are some of the most difficult things that governments are charged with doing, and yet huge sums of money that are being poured into doing this kind of work, often with, at best, very modest track records. And part of what I was concerned with was not just about how we do this in a more efficient kind of way, but I guess my own instincts were always that there was some basic mental model in people's heads for how they engage with this kind of challenge that was just fundamentally at odds with the kind of problem they were actually engaged with. And so much of my career has been really trying to articulate a different strategy, but not just do that in a nice place like the Kennedy School, to do that in direct encounters with really real people working on these issues in real countries in real time. And this is really difficult work, as I said, but so much of what I've learned has come from engaging with practitioners and trying to help those practitioners to have their own authorizing environment for trying new ways of doing these kind of tasks. And that's been the really exciting part of what I've been able to do, is to combine the analytics and the empirical work with an ongoing applied program explicitly committed to trying to, in this case, build a better justice systems for poor people. So that's where I'm coming from when I'm talking about these various different components of the course, as you'll hear them in the coming modules.